What's the pettiest hill your family chose to die on? You know that moment when you realize your family isn't just dysfunctional, they're strategically insane? Yeah, that was me the day my mom started a civil war over a 5-pound Pomeranian named Princess. I wish I was joking. I really do. My name's Tessa. I'm 27, from Oregon, and I come from one of those families that look perfectly normal from the outside. You know the type: matching Christmas pajamas, family brunch photos, all smiles for Instagram. But behind the smiles, it's like Game of Thrones, just with more casserole dishes and passive aggression. The truth is, my family doesn't fight over important things, not about real issues, like money, or betrayal, or who's emotionally constipated. Spoiler, all of us. We fight over stupid things. Who gets grandma's recipe box? Who borrowed mom's Tupperware and didn't return it? And the dumbest one of all, the Pomeranian. Her name was Princess. She was this tiny, yappy little fluff ball my grandma adored like she was royalty. I swear, that dog had better health care than I did. When grandma passed away, she left a handwritten note that said, "Tessa should take care of Princess. She understands her best." And I did. Princess loved me. She'd sleep on my hoodie every time I visited grandma. I used to joke that she was my emotional support therapist who accepted payment in cheese cubes. So, when grandma died, I thought it was a given. I'd take Princess home, but apparently, logic dies right alongside empathy in my family. Because somehow, my mom decided that my brother's wife, Hannah, should have the dog. Now, let me paint the picture here. Hannah is 30, gorgeous, and the walking definition of I made a Pinterest board about my life. She wears beige sweaters and calls sparkling water hydration. She married my golden boy brother Evan, Mr. Perfect, the one who could do no wrong since birth. So when my mom said, "We just think Princess would be happier with Evan and Hannah," my jaw dropped. Happier? I asked. Mom, I literally dogs at her for weeks at a time. She knows me. And my mom, without missing a beat, goes, "Sweetheart, you live in an apartment. Princess needs space to run." Princess weighs 6 pounds. She doesn't run. She gets tired halfway through barking. I tried to keep my cool, but my mom kept pushing, guilt-tripping me like it was her Olympic sport. "Tessa, this isn't about you. Don't make everything about yourself. Evan's home is more stable." More stable? That's her favorite insult disguised as a compliment. So yeah, I let it go. Or at least, I pretended to, because you can't win against my mom. She always finds a way to twist it, to make herself the victim. But then, the pictures started. Hannah began posting on Instagram full-blown photo shoots of my grandma's dog in designer clothes. I'm talking matching sweaters, bows, captions like "finally getting the love she deserves." I saw red. I texted my mom immediately. "This is insane. Hannah's dressing Princess like a Build-A-Bear. Grandma wanted me to have her." My mom replied in record time, "Don't be jealous. Hannah's just showing appreciation. You should be happy. Princess is in a good home." Happy? I was livid. But of course, in my family, anger equals disrespect. So the moment I pushed back, the group chat lit up like a fireworks show. My brother, Tessa, seriously, it's just a dog. My mom, stop attacking your brother and his wife. My aunt, you've always been so sensitive, honey. Sensitive? That's what they call it when you stop letting people walk all over you. I screenshotted grandma's note and sent it to the chat. She wanted me to have her, not Evan, not Hannah. No one responded for 10 minutes. Then my mom wrote, "Don't twist grandma's words. She meant it metaphorically." Metaphorically. I sat there on my couch, shaking with this mix of disbelief and humiliation. It wasn't about the dog anymore. It was about how easy it was for them to erase me from something that mattered. Again. See, this wasn't new. Growing up, my brother got everything: attention, praise, forgiveness. I got lectures about attitude and tone. If he broke something, it was an accident. If I did, it was irresponsible. So when mom gave my dog to his wife, it wasn't just unfair, it was the same damn story on repeat. And yet, I tried to move on. I told myself, "It's fine, Tessa, it's just a dog. Don't sink to their level." But every time I opened Instagram and saw Hannah's posts, Princess in a tutu, Princess in a mommy's little angel shirt, I could feel my sanity slipping. Then one night, something strange happened. My Aunt Marie texted me. Now Aunt Marie's the quiet one, the type who pretends she doesn't see the family drama, but always knows everything. Her message said, "Hey sweetie, you didn't hear this from me, but you should probably check grandma's will again." I didn't understand what she meant until she sent me a photo. A scanned email from grandma's lawyer. It clearly said that Princess was legally transferred to me in the will. Not Evan, not Hannah. And at the bottom, a signature line, one that had been altered. The original one said, "Beneficiary, Tessa Lang." The one on file now said, "Beneficiary, Evan Lang." I swear my heart stopped. My mom had changed the paperwork. I just sat there, staring at the screen, shaking. All those years of her preaching about family values and doing the right thing, and she forged a damn signature to take a dog. And I knew then, this wasn't about Princess. It never was. It was about control. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to fight for a dog. I was going to fight for myself. Because this petty hill? It wasn't petty anymore. And my mom was about to find out just how far I was willing to climb it. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, staring at the email from Aunt Marie, the lawyer's scan glowing on my laptop screen like a curse. My mom had forged my dead grandmother's will for a dog. You know that gut punch, when your brain keeps saying, no, no, this can't be real, but your heart already knows it is? Yeah, that was me. At first, I tried to reason it out. Maybe it was a clerical error. Maybe the lawyer made a mistake. But the more I zoomed in, the more obvious it became. The font didn't even match. The signature was slightly off, like someone had traced it, and I could feel it. My mom's perfect, manipulative fingerprints all over it. The same woman who used to ground me for talking back, just committed fraud over a 6-pound ball of fur. By morning, I was half fueled on rage and half on cold brew. I decided I needed proof. Real proof. So I called Grandma's lawyer, pretending I just wanted a copy of the will for sentimental reasons. He sounded confused when I mentioned the pet clause. I'm sorry, he said. I don't remember changing the beneficiary. That's odd. Could you check the original files? I asked, trying to sound calm. My heart was hammering so loud I could barely hear myself. He agreed to pull the archived records and call me back. Those 30 minutes waiting felt like 30 years. When the phone finally rang, I put it on speaker and hit record. He said, Tessa, the original document does say you were the beneficiary, but the one filed later was edited, digitally, and I never approved that change. I didn't even realize I'd started shaking until my phone almost slipped from my hand. Someone had hacked or altered the document after Grandma died. I knew who. I called my mom, straight to voicemail, texted her, no response. Then I saw it, she was active in the family group chat, sending Happy Wednesday everyone, like nothing was wrong. So I replied there. Hey mom, weird question, why does Grandma's will look edited? The chat went dead silent. Then Evan messaged. Tessa, what the hell are you talking about? I sent the screenshots, the original, the fake, the lawyer's message. Then I wrote, Mom, you forged a will, for a DOG, what's wrong with you? It was quiet for 5 minutes. Then my mom finally typed back, watch your tone, young lady, you don't know what you're talking about. Young lady, I'm 27, but sure. Then she added, your aunt shouldn't have sent you that. She's always meddling. This isn't about you, Tessa. It's about keeping the peace. Peace, I replied. You literally committed fraud. Then my brother jumped in. Tessa, stop. You're making this bigger than it is. Princess is happy here. Let it go. Let it go, the family's favorite phrase, translation, shut up and take it. But this time, I wasn't letting it go. Because here's the thing, my grandma knew how my mom could be. That's why she put the clause in writing. She trusted me, and my mom took that trust, that love, and twisted it. So, I did the unthinkable. I drove to their house. When I pulled up, Hannah's Tesla was in the driveway, and through the front window, I saw her taking photos of Princess wearing another stupid bow. I walked right in. My mom tried to stop me at the door, all smiles for the neighborhood. Tessa, we can talk about this later. No, I said, we're talking about it now. Hannah came out of the kitchen, holding Princess, looking like she'd seen a ghost. Evan stood behind her, defensive, like always. Mom, I said, holding up my phone, you edited Grandma's will, you forged her signature. That's a felony. Her face twitched, just for a second, but then she plastered that sweet, condescending smile on again. Oh, sweetheart, you're being dramatic. I didn't forge anything. The lawyer must have made an error. Then why did you tell Aunt Marie not to tell me about the original file? I asked. That smile vanished. How dare you snoop into family matters, she snapped. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you. And something inside me just broke. Years of swallowing my words, of being the problem child, of letting them gaslight me into silence. It all exploded. You don't get to hide behind Grandma anymore, I yelled. You stole from her memory to make yourself look like the hero. You don't get to play the victim this time. Evan stepped forward, voice sharp. Enough, Tessa. You're not ruining this family over a dog. I looked him dead in the eye. You already did? Then, for dramatic effect, and maybe just because I wanted them to squirm, I took out my phone and played the recorded call from the lawyer. The sound filled the room. My mom froze. Evan's jaw dropped. Hannah turned pale. When it ended, I said, I can either go to the police, or you can give me Princess right now, and I walk away. My mom stared at me, speechless, her perfect little world cracking around her. Then, in the smallest, coldest voice, she said, Fine. Take the damn dog. You'll need something to keep you company after this family cuts you off. I just smiled. Oh, don't worry, Mom. I'll be just fine. I took Princess from Hannah's shaking arms. The dog licked my face like she remembered everything. I turned and walked out, heart pounding, adrenaline buzzing. But as I got to my car, I noticed something strange. Aunt Marie's car parked down the street. She rolled down her window and whispered, Tessa, you need to see what else your mom forged. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about a will or a dog. It was about everything. My family had secrets I hadn't even begun to uncover. I got into her car, Princess trembling in my lap, And she handed me a manila folder that looked old, worn edges, faded ink, the kind of thing you'd find buried at the bottom of a forgotten drawer. I wasn't sure when to show you this, Aunt Marie said, glancing nervously toward my parents' house, but after what you told me about the will, you deserve to know. Inside were photocopies of documents, birth certificates, property deeds, and something that made my heart stop cold, a custody modification form. My name was on it. Filed when I was 7. It said that my mom had full custody of me, signed by my dad, but Aunt Marie pointed to the bottom. That's not your father's signature. He was in the hospital that day. He couldn't have signed anything. I felt my throat tighten. So she forged that too? Marie nodded. Your dad wanted joint custody after the divorce. Your mom didn't want to risk losing control of you, so she faked the paperwork. She's been hiding it ever since. Everything suddenly made sense. The way my mom never let me visit dad without supervision. The way she'd tell me, he's too unstable, every time I asked to call him. The woman I thought was just overprotective had built my entire childhood on a lie. Why didn't anyone tell me? I asked, voice breaking. Marie looked down. Because your mom threatened to cut everyone off. She said if we told you the truth, you'd turn against the family. I almost laughed, bitterly. She was right. But before I could even process it, my phone started ringing. Unknown number. I answered, and immediately wished I hadn't. Tessa, my mom's voice. Cold. Calm. Too calm. You think you can humiliate me? You think you can turn your aunt against me? How did you get this number? I hissed. You think blocking me means I can't reach you? Don't forget who raised you. I know how you think. Her voice was eerily steady, the same tone she used when I was a kid, and she'd say, I'm not mad, just disappointed, right before grounding me for a week. I told her, you forged legal documents. You lied to everyone. I'm done with you. Then she said something that chilled me to my bones. Oh, sweetheart, you don't know the half of it. Before I could respond, the call disconnected. Aunt Marie grabbed my arm. We need to go somewhere safe, now. We drove to her house about 20 minutes away, but I couldn't shake the feeling we were being followed. Every car behind us made my pulse spike. When we got there, Marie went straight to her study and pulled out a small fireproof box. Inside were more papers. She made your father look like the bad guy, Marie said, but he wasn't. He tried to fight back. He even filed a counterclaim to get joint custody reinstated, but the court dismissed it because of the forged signature. Your mom destroyed the evidence before he could prove it. I stared at the dates, 2 months before my dad's accident. My chest tightened. You mean before he? Marie nodded. Before he died, yes. A cold wave of realization hit me so hard I almost dropped the folder. My dad's car accident, the one everyone said was random, late-night rain, hydroplane into a guardrail. But what if it wasn't? What if mom had something to do with it? I whispered. Marie's face went pale. I've wondered that too. The room suddenly felt smaller, the air heavier. Princess whimpered at my feet, as if she could sense my panic. I grabbed my phone and started scrolling through old family photos, ones my mom used to send for Memory Day. In one from my dad's funeral, mom's wearing sunglasses, smiling faintly in the corner. It was subtle, but I remembered thinking, even as a kid, that she didn't look sad. I turned to Marie. Do you think she could have? Stop, she said, firm but terrified. Don't say it unless you're ready to find out. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound outside felt like a threat. Every text notification made my heart leap. Around 3 a.m., I checked my phone again, and there it was. A new message. From a hidden number. Just one line. You shouldn't dig up what's been buried. No name. No emoji. Just that. And I knew, without even checking, that it came from her. My mother. The same woman who used to tuck me in at night whispering, you're safe with me. But now, I wasn't sure I ever had been. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on Aunt Marie's couch, watching the shadows stretch and twist across the walls, every creak in the house sounding like a threat. I kept rereading that message, you shouldn't dig up what's been buried, until the words didn't even look real anymore. By morning, I'd convinced myself it had to be a coincidence. Some spam text, maybe a prank, except my mom had used that exact phrase before. I could still hear her voice from when I was 15, after I asked too many questions about Dad's accident. She'd said, let the dead rest, Tessa. Don't dig up what's been buried. And now here it was, staring back at me on my phone. I told Aunt Marie about the message. Her face went ghost white. You need to be careful, she whispered. If your mother feels cornered, she'll do anything to keep control. Anything. That word, anything, wouldn't leave my head. By noon, I decided to go to the courthouse. If there were old custody or insurance records, I wanted to see them for myself. Marie didn't want me going alone, but I insisted I needed to know the truth. The clerk at the courthouse looked bored until I mentioned my dad's name. Then she frowned. That file's been requested before, she said. By who? I asked. She tapped her computer, then looked uneasy. It doesn't show, just sealed. Sealed? By who? She leaned closer. You didn't hear it from me, but it was sealed under a family privacy request. By your mother? My stomach dropped. Why would my mother have the legal authority to seal files from 20 years ago? The clerk hesitated. There was also an insurance dispute. You might want to check that department. So I did, and that's when everything cracked open. The man at the insurance desk handed me a photocopy of an old claim, a payout from my father's life insurance. $50,000, paid to the beneficiary. My mother. But that wasn't what hit me hardest. The date of filing 2 days before the car crash. I froze. My mouth went dry. I stared at that paper until it blurred. You mean this was submitted before he died? The man nodded, not realizing what he'd just said. Yeah, it happens sometimes. People file early for renewals. But my dad didn't file it. He didn't renew anything. Because it wasn't in his handwriting. It was hers. That perfect, looping cursive that used to sign my permission, slips, my field trip forms, my birthday cards, and now, apparently, my father's death paperwork. I stumbled out of the building, shaking so hard I could barely breathe. My mom had filed for his insurance before he died, before the crash. The accident wasn't an accident. It couldn't be. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Same hidden number. Stop digging, Tessa. You'll ruin everything. I didn't even realize I was crying until I tasted salt on my lips. I called Aunt Marie, but she didn't answer, so I drove straight to her house. Except when I got there, her driveway was empty, and the front door was slightly open. Marie? I called. Nothing. The air inside was thick, heavy, like the whole house was holding its breath. Her purse was still on the counter, her phone on the table, a half-finished cup of coffee next to it. Then, in the kitchen, I saw it. A photo, taped to the fridge. It was me and Marie at my high school graduation, smiling, arms around each other, but someone had scribbled across it in red marker. Family doesn't betray family. My hands were trembling so bad I could barely hold my phone. I dialed 911, but before I could hit call, headlights flashed through the window. A car pulled into the driveway, black sedan, the kind my mom used to drive. I froze, crouched behind the counter. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure it could be heard outside. The door creaked open wider. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Then a voice, calm, familiar. Tessa, honey, I just want to talk. It was her. My mother. And she was inside the house. I couldn't move. My mother's voice echoed down the hallway like something from a nightmare, soft, familiar, almost soothing. Tessa, she said again. Come out, sweetheart. We need to talk. Every nerve in my body screamed run, but my legs wouldn't listen. I was crouched behind Aunt Marie's kitchen counter, staring at the floor tiles, gripping my phone like a weapon. The red marker on that photo burned into my mind. Family doesn't betray family. I heard her heels clicking closer. You shouldn't have gone to the courthouse, she said, her tone even. You don't understand how much you're hurting this family. I swallowed hard. My voice came out shaky. What did you do to Marie? Silence, then a long exhale. She needed a break, my mother said quietly. She was emotional. I took her somewhere safe. Something in her voice made my blood run cold. What did you do? She stepped into view then, calm as ever, hair perfectly styled, like she'd just come from church instead of breaking into her sister's house. She was holding a casserole dish wrapped in foil. You look pale, she said softly. You haven't been eating. Let's sit down. I stared at her like she'd lost her mind. Mom, you filed Dad's insurance claim 2 days before he died. Her smile faltered for a split second, just a flash, but I saw it. Then she sighed and set the casserole on the counter. I was afraid you'd find that. Afraid? My voice cracked. He's dead, Mom. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Her tone sharpened. You don't know what that man was. He was going to leave us. He emptied the joint account. He was planning to disappear. I shook my head. That's not true. She slammed her hand on the counter, startling me. You think I didn't see the emails? He was planning to take you, Tessa. Leave me with nothing. I did what I had to do to protect my family. My family, that word again. I could barely breathe. You killed him. Her eyes glistened, but her expression didn't change. I saved us. The words hung there, heavy, poisonous. I took a step back. My phone buzzed in my hand. A text from an unknown number. She's lying. Marie's alive. I looked up, and Mom's eyes darted to my phone. Who's texting you? She demanded, lunging forward to grab it. We struggled, her nails digging into my wrist, her perfume choking the air between us. I shoved her back and she stumbled, hitting the table. The casserole crashed to the floor, shattering. She straightened slowly, blood running down her wrist from the broken dish, and whispered, You're just like him, ungrateful, disloyal. I was shaking all over. Where is Aunt Marie? She smiled, a cold, distant smile. She's gone, like he is. Like you'll be if you don't stop this nonsense. That was it. Something inside me snapped. I turned and bolted for the door. My mother screaming behind me. I could hear her heels pounding on the tile, then the sound of glass crunching as she slipped. I didn't look back. I ran straight to my car, hands trembling, barely able to put the key in the ignition. As I sped down the dark road, my phone buzzed again. Another message. Same number. Come to the diner on Route 7. Hurry. It was signed, Marie. I didn't know if it was a trap or a miracle, but I drove anyway. 10 minutes later, I pulled into the old roadside diner, lights flickering, and there she was. Aunt Marie, sitting in a booth, alive, bruised, shaking, but alive. She looked up, eyes wide. She's gone off the deep end, Tessa. She thinks you're going to expose her. I am, I said, pulling out my phone. I've got everything. The insurance papers, the texts, everything. Marie nodded slowly. Good, but you need to leave tonight. Go somewhere she can't find you. Because your mother doesn't lose. Not without a fight. And that's when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Her voice came through. Calm, steady, terrifying. You think running makes you free? You'll always be my daughter, Tessa. Always. The line went dead. I looked out the diner window, and there, parked across the street, was that same black sedan, engine running, headlights on. Marie whispered, she followed you. I took a deep breath, staring at those headlights cutting through the fog. No, I said finally, gripping Marie's hand. She followed control, and I'm done being controlled. I hit record on my phone and stepped outside. It was time to end it. It's been a year since that night. My mom's serving time now, fraud, insurance tampering, obstruction. The police called it premeditated manipulation, but to me it was just her last attempt to keep control. Aunt Marie's still healing. I moved 2 states away, started over, changed my number, and finally learned what peace sounds like. Silence that isn't heavy. Sometimes I still hear her voice in my head saying, family doesn't betray family. But I've learned something else. Family isn't who demands your loyalty, it's who earns it. And I'm finally loyal to myself.